As you can tell from my title, I'm showing you how to repaint hair on Procreate. So I just recently learned how to edit hair on Procreate. Don't think like at the amount of time it took me to get it right is actually me getting it right the first time. I've been trying to learn how to make hair on Procreate for a really long time, maybe for like, I think it's been 2 months since I've had this app, and I still did not know how to repaint hair on Procreate. And to be honest, I've been on YouTube and looking at tutorials on how to do it, and I figured it out. And yeah, so before you start this tutorial, like following along, you want to download the hair brushes that I'm using, because you won't see it on the app when you get it. Yeah, it will be in the description. And if you can't download it, then a brush you can use is called the flowing hair brush. You're gonna see it in the touch-up sections. And yeah, but that one's harder to use because it's not a thicker brush than the one I'm using right now. So when you've got your inspo pick, you can use the one I'm using. It's by Kyrie. Her art is Goldenbih. I'm gonna put it down in the description too. I don't think it's still on her Instagram, but it's like all the way down. If you see it, you can copy the picture I use and follow along in the video, so you get an idea of how to repaint hair when you choose a different hairstyle to repaint. So when you repaint hair like that, the one in the picture, you don't want to focus on the details in the middle. You want to focus on how the details look at the sides. So you get like how the shape of the hair is supposed to be before, and then after you've done that, I'm gonna start showing how you can start focusing on how the details of the hair should look to look like the hair in the picture. if you're following along and you don't want to make it into a wig, you don't have to do what I just did in the video and go back and filling in what you don't see if you're trying to leave the hair black. But if you're trying to make the hair colored, like you're gonna see how I did that at, later to the end, then you're gonna have to go and do that. The hairbrush I'm about to use next is also not in the Procreate app when you get it, so it will be also in the description. Every brushes that I'm using is going to be in the description. When you do the details, you don't want to use white color, you want to use a really light purple color, because when you change the color, the highlights won't be white, it will change with the hair color when you're changing it. This is the hardest part to do. Like, it took me like almost 10 minutes to do because I've missed the point of like how it should look like the first time, but I cut that all out so it doesn't look confusing. Yeah, you want to take your time on this part if you're using the same hairstyle I'm using to recreate, to follow along in the video. And after I've done that and it looks nice to me, I use the eraser. So you want to make sure the eraser is set up to hard airbrush. Yeah, so then you want to create a fade. Don't like fully erase it. So yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm done. I think right now you'll see what I'm saying. Yeah, so I'm doing that right now, and this is what creates a really nice shape and to the hair. I say a lot. Oh my god. So on this part is even more hard to do. You're gonna have to take your time with it and have patience, because I actually was getting frustrated a little bit because doing the curves was difficult every time, especially beginners watching this and trying to recreate. You're gonna have to have a lot of patience, and I thought while I was doing this it wasn't turning out good because to me it didn't look neat and nice, but I fixed it by using the eraser, fading out some highlights in the hair because some was a bit too much. That's why I do that. So yeah, take your time. You want to make a new layer every time you're going down, making new details in the hair, because if you do it all in the same layer and erasing stuff, you're gonna be kind of annoyed that it's also erasing stuff you don't want erased or faded out. So yeah, make sure you keep doing new layers, and if you're when you're going down drawing new details on the hair, go back and check if you did do a new layer, because I always forget to do that, and then I get annoyed and I feel like I want to start again, but then I don't do that. So I just try to make it work, and I don't want that to happen with all of you watching the video, so I'm just reminding you because that's important. after you've done all the highlights, to merge the layers, you use 2 of your fingers all together. Do it at the same time, or you can just hold on the layer and you'd see the option merge if you can't do it the way I did. I'm going back again to fill in hairs that I missed out, and just places that I saw closely whilst doing the details. Okay, so after all the retouch, you go back on the hair layer and then you go on brightness, you know, what I tapped on, and go on the lightest color. And that way, when you go on color balance, mid-tones, choosing the color however you want the hair to be, it would be easier that way. I was trying to get the same color in the picture and it took a while because I didn't know how the colors worked from highlight to shadows, you know what I mean. Then when you're changing the color of the highlights, the only thing that you need to do is go on color balance and change it, not on brightness and the other option. Just color balance, then highlights, and change the color. And then when you're done retouching again, if you need to, go back on the highlight and use add. It depends on the hair color. If you use blonde and you use add, then it's going to be harsh, and you have to go on do the add. But you don't have to do add, it just brings more highlight to the hair. But if you're using blonde or any light hair color and use add, don't put on the mode at all, just leave the highlight the way it is. The next step is, after you've eye dropped whatever hair color your wig is, you go on multiply and you're adding more depth into your hair, your wig. So when you see me go darker, that's where it's supposed to be. Like when you use Gaussian blur, it looks really nice. So wherever you see darker areas in your hair, basically shadows, that's where you need to go. Make the brush bigger and darken that area up. I always do this now, ever since the first time I repainted her. This creates a shadow, and when you put the wig on, it makes the hair look more realistic. So now I'm doing little highlights. Obviously you're gonna use a different brush, and I drop in the lightest color that is on the hair. I'm just gonna put in highlights where you would normally see it on the hair, or just look at the Inspo pic, real life pic or whatever, and look at where the highlights are hitting on the hair. And if you don't see any, just, wing it. When you're done with your wig, merge it down in the order that I'm doing it, because if you don't, then the highlights you just did won't show up. But it doesn't really matter, but still has to be in that order. And after that, you're done.